Hello and welcome to Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. Getting into today's top stories, Jim and Marlene DePriest will retire at the end of the 2022-23 school year after over 30 years with the Mount Pleasant Community School District's music program. For the last 40 years, Jim has worked as a high school band director while he got his start in smaller schools, places like Stewart near West Des Moines, West Burlington, and Burlington. Jim always had his eyes on a position with Mount Pleasant schools. As our Westland graduates, Marlene and Jim were already familiar with the Mount Pleasant community. I actually applied for this job when I graduated, Jim said. This was the first application I ever put in, but I didn't have enough experience, so when it opened 9 years later, I went after it, he said. According to Jim, Marlene has been by his side the whole duration of his career. There would be no me without Marlene. We've been together in all of it. Marlene additionally worked with Jim at Notre Dame and joined him at Mount Pleasant only a year after he accepted this position. Even before taking in an official role with the school district, Marlene began her work with the marching band Color Guard. She is the head of the vocal music department, and she and Jim work tirelessly with the high school's theater department. While the DePriest will embark on a new journey at the end of the school year, as always, they will do it together. A report from Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield's Healthy Hometown Initiative was sent to Washington earlier this month, detailing the findings of a walking audit held several weeks prior. The report spells out recommendations on a wide range of pedestrian infrastructure for the city. Wellmark representatives said their goal was to spark productive discussions on the subject. The 1.7-mile route highlighted a diversity of sidewalk conditions in the city. Some were well-maintained, others were overgrown, and many were absent altogether. The report suggested construction of infill sidewalks to fill those gaps, as well as increased use of small financial incentives for property owners voluntarily replacing ill-maintained sidewalk panels. The walking audit identified crosswalk upgrades as much-needed area for improvement, citing them as a matter of safety. The report also suggested enhanced pedestrian crossings, those with signage and flashing lights activated by a button before pedestrians enter the street. Specifically, Wellmark identified the crossing at Highway 92 and Jefferson Street as a prime location for such devices. The report said enhancing a sense of place in Washington was possible through various beautification efforts, any of which could make spaces more accommodating for social interaction and residents' desire to spend time outside. Walking auditors said they noticed a handful of vacant spaces in the downtown area unlikely to see regular use or travel. To address those, the tour leader suggested pocket parks, small areas with atmospheres that encourage stopping by. Some of the vacant areas identified included an alley west of JP's 207 and an unused city-owned lot close to Marion Avenue Baptist Church. On a similar note, the report also floated the idea of parklets, small structures built over current parking spaces that facilitate social gatherings. The most common examples were eating areas outside restaurants, and again, JP's 207 was the location identified as a possible candidate in the report. After just over a year, Joe Mitchell has announced the townhomes on East Monroe and Mount Pleasant are completed and ready to be moved into. Back in August 2021, Mitchell and his parents bought a 3-acre lot of land on East Monroe Street with the intent of developing additional housing options in the Mount Pleasant area. According to Mitchell, the project's success is in thanks in part to the willingness of the city of Mount Pleasant to work on developing the area with him in the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Grant. The project received $300,000 from the grant for development. 8 townhome units were created in the 2 buildings. One building houses 1,300 square foot units with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. The other contains 3-bedroom units with 2 bathrooms over 1,900 square feet. The smaller of the 2 includes lawn care and snow removal. While the units only opened recently, over half are already occupied. Mitchell isn't done with Monroe Street yet. In partnership with Kinney & Sons, Mitchell has already applied for another grant to fund this next project. Expectation for these future units is to provide an alternative to owning a whole single-family home and instead offer condos and townhomes for sale. Volunteers worked tirelessly through chilling wind for several hours Saturday morning to replace Main Street Washington's lights of love trees around Washington Central Park and assemble signs marking each as a memorial for different community members. Main Street Washington Executive Director Samantha Meyer said she was glad to see so many volunteers throughout the morning coming from all parts of the community. The work took roughly 2.5 hours as volunteers placed 90 trees around the square. Meyer said it was a record for the fundraiser. Main Street will light the trees at the square's lighting ceremony during Washington's Snow Blitz, November 26th, along with the buildings surrounding the square. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll have the weather and sports.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
Hello and welcome back to Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. We have the weather and sports coming up, but first obituaries. Madeline M. Chandler Packwood passed away on November 21st. A celebration of life will be held at a later date. Benner Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. That was obituaries. It is now time for the weather.
The weather is brought to you by Jacqueline Ariola, LLC.
Come visit Jackie in her new location downtown. She is ready to serve Washington and the surrounding community. Today we've had some great weather, but unfortunately it won't be around for long. It has been mostly sunny today with a high of 57. For Thanksgiving there's a chance of rain in the morning and the high will be 52. On Friday, the sun will make its return and it will be 46. But looking to the weekend, Saturday, the rain will be back in the afternoon and the evening. On Sunday, it'll be 45 with mostly cloudy skies. We're going to take another brief break, and when we come back, we'll have sports. Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank. Family owned and operated by Andy and Sarah Ross. Ross Auto has been your vehicle repair and maintenance headquarters since 1935. We specialize in all makes of cars and light-duty trucks. With our variety of available services, let us help you keep rolling and your vehicle operating efficiently. Services include general auto repair, alignments, brakes, fuel injection, and more. Schedule your appointment today at 319-653-5656. That's 319-653-5656. Hello and welcome back to Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. It is now time for sports.
Sports, brought to you by Fairway.
The Iowa Print Sports Writers Association released its 2022 All-State football list on Tuesday, and the Union coverage area was represented by 15 players. The IPSWA cut the number of All-State teams to just 2 this season. That makes getting on the team even more rare in 2022. It should be no surprise that after making the Class 8-player semifinal, Waco had a whopping 4 first-teamers. The lone offensive first-teamer was senior Simeon Reichenbach, who finished the year with 1,576 yards and 33 touchdowns on the ground, and also caught 24 passes for 402 yards and 5 scores. Defensively, Waco senior defensive lineman Colton Lichty, who had 90 tackles, 17 which were sacks and 4 fumble recoveries, made the list, as did senior linebacker Drew Dyers, who had 108 tackles on the year, and senior defensive back Mason Miller, who had 9 interceptions. Second teamers for the Union area include Winfield Mount Union's Cam Buffington, who made it as a defensive utility player, as well as Mid-Prairie's running back Braden Hartley. That is the news for Southeast Iowa. I've been your host, Nick Steffens. This has been your News Break, and I'll see you next time.